Okay, I think there are people waiting. So, Vishali, you talk, okay? I'm outside.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the call. We'll just give a moment for other partners to join the call, and then we will start with the call. Perfect. I think let's get started. So thank you everyone for joining this call. As you all know that Connect Secure has started hosting partner calls for APAC and EMEA region here. So I really thank you all for joining it. Right. I'll start with my today's partner call. So agenda here is to cover release updates in production and some updates which are in QA about the cloud assessment, which is an important update from Connect Secure side, stability and reliability improvements on the engineering side, and pricing plan changes what we are coming up with. So I'll quickly take you through what are the release updates we have done since the last call till this call. Talking about it, PSA tickets consolidated view. So here we have, so earlier I think under vulnerabilities and solutions view, you were able to see that the PSA tickets has been raised. You're able to see number of tickets, ticket numbers, etc. But then here what we did is to manage and see these tickets effectively. We have added an option under settings. So you have to go to global settings. Under that, you will find there is PSA tickets option, which will give you a consolidated view of all your PSA tickets, right? So it will tell you whether it is grouped by product, asset, what is the grouping mechanism you have selected, which integration it is coming via, what is the status of the ticket ID, etc. Right? All the details you should be able to see in one consolidated view here. Going forward, another important update I think we have is we always had this date filter under standard reports, but that was initially was only able to do the filtering at the company level. So partners were missing this capability under global level. So we've added that under global level also. So for such global level reporting, even you should be able to use dates filters going on. So start date, end date, you could put in and only you could see the data only between those duration. Okay. Next update we have is a patch management dashboard. So we had this added at the company level, but now at the global level gives you a clear enough or a good idea about how is the patching getting managed at the company level, right? So every company wise, you have a view at the global level. So which talks about, successful patch job status, failures, application wise patching, how is it different, OS wise patching, how is it happening across multiple companies, right? So that kind of a view is available under global patch management dashboard as well. The next one, I would say very important update is internal versus external vulnerabilities. We understand that many of the partners are using internal scanning and the external scanning part of the product or the features of the product. Overall, they use both the functionalities, right? So here they were wanting to see the vulnerabilities separately based on whether it is coming through internal scan or it is coming via external scan, right? So it has been segregated as internal and external vulnerabilities. You should be able to see them under vulnerabilities tab, right? So by default, it will show you internal, and then you could select and toggle between the two options here. Next one, I think every partner has dedicated, has an instance into certain number of pod, right? That's the architecture. So for every pod, there is a whitelisting requirement is there, which was earlier was under into one Confluence documentation. Now what we have done is we've got that exactly the same IP whitelisting information under your portal itself. So you don't need to actually look at the document. So you have everything inside the portal. Once you log in, you should be able to see this information right here under Getting Started Info Panel. Okay. The next one update, what we have done is that we have added under ticketing template. So earlier you have this critical and high severity vulnerability found sub-event types. Now we've added medium severity vulnerabilities found under critical ticketing template. Problems and the subtype can be medium severity. We've also added one for low severity vulnerabilities, right? So you should be able to create your ticketing template based on even these subtypes. Next one is last month we added high watermark under the plan and billing section of your settings. So under global settings, you have plan and billing section under which we've added high watermark. So high watermark basically gives you a figure of your assets that during that particular billing month. So billing month is 1 to 31st of the month or 30th of the month. During that particular month, what is the highest number of asset usage that we have seen for your portal? Right, so here you have that visibility. So we just managed to rename it to max asset count, and this typically works for a month, as I mentioned, between 1st to 30th of the month. So currently, for an example, we're on 13th of February today. So until 13th, this is the maximum asset count what we have seen for that particular portal. And the current asset count here, it lists your daily asset count, right? So currently at this moment, I have 3,580 assets. And the maximum until now is 3,596. We get a lot of questions regarding this, so we've added this for the transparency purpose. So you have all the information available in the portal with you. Okay. Certain agent release listing updates is we've released the agent 4.3.56 with good changes in the architectural side. Also in some of the fixes for the agent have been pushed through. So here, if you talk about software and system updates, certain things like software data transmission. So right now, the mechanism what we have added is it will send a full software data once in every 8 hours. It's going to be a default time duration. Now this interval can be adjusted through agent setting, right? But default every 8 hours, the data will be sent through. We've seen cases where there are remote installation failures, right? So what happens is if there is a failure or even the scan failure happens, then it does redo the whole thing again. So instead of that, we are maintaining a scan state and we will resume from the last point of failure. Okay. So last point after that particular failure, we will resume that particular state onwards. Talking about Active Directory and authentication. So the agent release has covered about Active Directory data upload. So Active Directory data upload was failing. So we use typically API or NAT mechanism to upload the data. But sometimes due to the file size limitation, it was failing. And that failure caused the overall performance degradation. So this has been taken care to route it to R2. So R2 is able to handle large file sizes. So the alternate mechanism is that it will be uploaded via R2. Certain other things like security and compliance wise, so Apache Tomcat service detection. So team has modified OS query, which has improved the Tomcat service detection, right? So going forward, another one important update I would say is the data retention and integrity level. So we always had agent uninstallation from the portal capability. So you could uninstall an agent from the portal or from the agent system, right? So, but if you uninstall it from the portal, it was deleting the data. So now many of the partners have requested that they would like to retain the data. And then, so the mechanism has been added to retain the agent data back in the portal, even though the agent has been uninstalled, right? So agent will appear offline, but the data will remain in the portal. And then that particular remains of that particular agent will follow a deprecation policy, what you have added under the portal. And according to the deprecation policy, it will be handled further. Certain other updates on the Linux and the cloud enhancement is cloud Linux vulnerabilities have been taken care. So we've implemented OSCAP for detecting cloud Linux vulnerability, very similar to how we are dealing with Red Hat and Ubuntu. Okay, this is about the agent release list. Next on the stability and the reliability improvements. So here, Vidyaji, you want to chime in here?
Yeah, just to kind of give a brief view as to definitely last year we had a lot of work done around the V3 to V4 migration. Certain cases we did a good job, certain cases we didn't. And also towards the end of the year, we did have a couple of outages. I think there was one big outage during the mid-December. So as part of the RCA, we started to look at each component where we could kind of streamline things. So we have identified key areas which we'll be working on. As you know, the team engineering always has a feature backlog which is always overrun. But at the same time, it's very critical that we spend time on a comprehensive tech backlog to ensure that the partner experience is kind of going to be seamless, right? And that's the end goal. So one of the things is the AD audit. So just to let you know that AD audit, a lot of the partners use this feature, and the logs are currently are stored, at least till last week, were stored in the traditional database, which is the Postgres. While that was great, but at the same time, this put a lot of strain on the database in terms of the queries and the performance over that, right? So what we have done is moved the complete AD audit into an analytical database, and it's going to store in a much more efficient format, which means the file sizes are going to be much compressed. So that way we'll be able to handle high load volumes for AD audit. And that's going to offload the database where the scan related transactions and stuff are going to happen. So this has been tested and deployed in production. So just to let you know that this is for the technical core technical people, this is interesting because we want to kind of segregate the operational and the analytical data for future use. Second thing is regarding the scan and data processing. So one of the things which we constantly get into is I am sure many of our partners faced issues with delays in scan. At the same time, there's also in terms of the scan reliability, there have been some issues. So currently, we are using NATS, which is one of the messaging queue system. We are going to move to a high grade messaging cluster, which is the RabbitMQ, and that has a much advanced queuing mechanism and also the way it handles the jobs. So that's something which is right now under performance testing. And as a partner, what is the impact? Absolutely, from this slide, there's not going to be an impact. But I think in terms of the performance, you should be start seeing improvements over a period of time. The last one is the schedulers. So the other problem we found is generally the first of the month or the second of the month, there are a lot of reports going on. Sometimes we do see schedule misses. And yeah, we have kind of mitigated that over last year. But at the same time, as we scale, we think moving to a fairly large cluster, which is a Dcron multi-node cluster, and kind of scaling that will really help. So that's something which that's in pipeline. Basically, we are testing it, and then the concurrency is going to be pretty good, so we can handle the schedule jobs much more efficiently. So we are like taking 7-8 areas where we think our tech backlog should be kind of prioritized, and we should be working on it. So as we do this, we will keep you posted on the updates. But in all transparency, just to let you know that we are working on the experience, providing a better experience, just not from the user interface perspective, but from the infra perspective. So these are the things we are planned for probably in the next 2-3 weeks. But this will be something which will be working over the next few months. Yeah, I think this I covered, Vrishali.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Vidyaji. So certain release updates which are there in QA. So earlier, I'll just highlight a couple of them here. So registry vulnerabilities, you should be able to raise a ticket for it, right? So either manually or automatically, you should be able to create a ticket for registry vulnerabilities. Earlier, it was only seen for your general vulnerabilities table, right? The table above this was allowed to raise a ticket. Second one here, I would say one more item in QA, which is very important in terms of, how the risk score for unauthenticated scan has been handled, right? Right now, what the tool does is unauthenticated scan assets have been risk scored as A, right? Because we don't have much of the information available for that. So we mark it as A, but some of the partners are having a different way of handling the risk score. So what we have done is we have given an ability to enable this particular toggle here under your global settings, asset risk score unauthenticated scan. Once you enable this, it will do a risk score to NA. NA means it's not going to be applicable. So the risk score, this will be a gray risk score. and you should be immediately pinpoint the assets looking at that risk score, and also this will be excluded from the company risk score, right? So you should, I mean, the partner should have a good enough view of these such different assets. Now, the next one I would like to highlight is a cloud assessment. So typically, we covered Microsoft 365 in the last partner call, that what has been already launched. This is in beta at the moment. All the partners should be able to access and experience Microsoft 365 security inspection. So here, certain other additional enhancements, what we have done in terms of remediation. So you have this particular findings table which talks about the remediation plan. We've also added remediated records. Now this UI is very similar to what we have in solutions page. So just to make it, go hand in hand. So here you will see that M365 remediated records tab is also added. So whatever has been taken care, you should be able to see them in the next tab here. One additional enhancement in terms of reports is we've added the Excel report for these findings here. So typically you had a PPT and a Word document already available under M365 inspection. So Excel is additional one which will have a drill down view of all these findings. And then there is a tagging of these findings based on the licensing, right? So P1, P2, I think many of the partners were missing these remediations. So what we have done is we are tagging these remediations, whether it is for P1, P2, or it is only for P1, or it is only for P2, right? So you should be able to see that here under the details. So here, if you see it is for P2, this one is for again P2. So likewise, the findings are tagged already. So you should be able to use it effectively accordingly. And another one important update is in the menu here. Earlier, this was under Active Directory. We have introduced a new menu called Cloud Assessment, as the Cloud Assessment will be a part of our premium product going forward. That's going to be almost, I think, in the coming month, it should happen. And under that, you should be able to experience Microsoft 365 and the Google Workspace, which is coming up soon. Okay. Now, integrating Google Workspace, I'm just taking you through a small UI for Workspace. This is not yet live, just to introduce you to Workspace UI here. So typically, you will have an ability to add credential like for any other integration abilities you have for the other products. So you should be able to use that. And then the Google Workspace. So typically, like Microsoft 365, the assessment is done for Google Workspace environment to deal with your security threats internally or externally, right? So here you should be able to see what are the compliant findings and non-compliant findings. And here you have details very similar to that of M365. You will also have the details available. What are the references? What is the remediation that you should be able to follow to get compliant with those particular findings, right? So for an example, MFA here is enforced for all users in administrative roles. So you should be able to follow these steps and you should be able to be compliant with this particular finding. We are also adding Google Workspace alerts. So for an example, say it will tell you authorize, right? So particular username will be here, which is masked, authorized a third-party application or a service. Then the change event, calendar event was modified by, again, the user email. You should be able to see it here. Likewise, the other alerts are device sync event, where it talks about the new device was synced with Google Workspace and the device detail. The device name has been given here. Request access, login success. So these are certain different alerts which will be created for Google Workspace. Okay. Now, based on the Microsoft 365 feedback, since Google Workspace is yet work in progress, we are still getting feedback from partners on M365. I think certain changes we have done here is majorly, I think the global admin permissions we were using earlier, which has come down to global reader permission using the principle of least privilege and best practices there, which is already in live, right? So this has been completed. Conditional access policy for MFA details to be captured. This is again, it is released and in production. MFA, we've seen users not having MFA enabled. It will also sync that, and this has also been completed. License filtering, as I just discussed with you, implemented tagging of remediation with required license types to avoid unnecessary action. So that P1, P2 license tagging, what we have already pushed to the production is already live, right? So that is also been completed. Certain other action items like event notification, which is this particular event notification for M365 assessment is still being reviewed by engineering team. And once they review, I think they will take it forward from there. The another important clients ask is upsell by MSP, right? So they wanted an access to M365 only for certain end customers of there. But currently, this particular line item has been with engineering, and we will look at it, once we finish working on other important items or the priority items of M365. Certain couple of other items here is benchmark and recommendation impact. So M365 in Connect Secure currently is using Microsoft Baseline, and CIS should be implemented later in this year. The target is Q2. In Q2, you should be able to see that it's going to follow CIS guidelines also here. And definitely the reporting templates, what we have for M365 right now, those will be improved, which is under review currently, to definitely have more visually, aesthetically good reports. So even that is a point which has been worked upon. Okay. Now comes the another update regarding pricing plan. I think last partner call we shared about what is the standard and the premium SKU is going to look like. But in your application, like in your portal, how it's going to be, I'll take you through a small flow of that. So here you should be able to see under your global settings, plan and billing section, you should be able to see the current plan details, right? And on the same page, you will be able to see right now, this is not live. This is something which is going to be going forward, it will be pushed live. So we're still working on certain things on this. So the flow is going to be whichever plan you have subscribed to, you will be able to see that highlighted. So for an example, by default, all the current partners or existing partners will be under standard plan, right? And those who are going to continue using M365 will be part of premium plan. So here you have partners will have an ability to change to premium. So here I'll just take you, once you click on that change to premium, here it will notify you that, okay, you are moving from standard to premium along with the cost, and your current subscription and billing amount will be changed from immediate effect. So upgrade is immediate. So immediately affecting from the date when you're doing the upgrade in the portal. And then here you will be able to see that you have been upgraded, and the premium plan will get highlighted because that's going to be your current plan which you have chosen. So you are able to upgrade directly from the application here. And second is you should also be able to degrade, right? So once you want to degrade from your premium to standard plan, here is what it confirms. So the degradation happens with the next billing cycle. So your subscription will change from premium to standard with the current subscription of billing amount will be charged from 1st of the next month, right? So this is the old screenshot. So 1st of your next month. So 1st to 30th is your billing month. So accordingly, the changes will be effective from the 1st of your next month. So here then you will see that this particular, whichever is your plan, currently active plan will be showcased here. Currently you're still on premium. It has not been degraded because your plan will be changed to standard on 1st of Feb, and that time automatically this standard plan will be highlighted. Okay. Now, certain downgrade and upgrade rules, what you have is you have a flexibility to upgrade or downgrade, right? Once a month, you can do that. Partners can upgrade plans at any time during a month. So upgrade once a month is permitted within the same month. Default SKU assignment for existing partner, it is standard by default, as I already mentioned. Trial partners will be automatically categorized as premium because we want all our partners to experience cloud assessment like M365, Google Workspace going forward, and they would decide to have a benefit using those features. Conversion rules are very simple. As a standard, the partners are classified as standard by default, and they can choose to upgrade anytime. As I showed right from the application, you should be able to upgrade. And trial partners are automatically categorized as premium again. Post downgrade upgrade. So partners, once you have done the downgrade once, they can again do one upgrade. But no further downgrades will be allowed in that particular month. And the downgrade timing rules, downgrade does not take effect immediately. It will take effect from the next billing term, right? And after a downgrade and then the upgrade sequence, only further upgrades are allowed, right? Because your monthly charges are locked based on that. And the billing is definitely from first day of the next month. Billing, as I said, that upgrade charges will take effect in the current month, while downgrade will take effect in the following billing month, right? So this is about premium to standard or standard to premium changes and in-app changes, which will be allowed in the application or in portal itself. That's about it from my end. So I leave it to you guys, and if anybody has any questions, we're happy to take it.
Vrishali, I think one of our partners, Nabil, wanted to explain the ticket integration and process. Um, do you have the portal by chance?
Yes, I have. Okay, I'll just reshare my screen. Okay, hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so for an example, if I go to a particular company, okay, so here I have an option of integration action. So if you have any integrations in place like PSA tickets, you should be able to, this is a manual way of operating it. You should be able to raise a ticket for this particular line item. System checks. Now I have this 365, Jira, etc. I have Synpro here, Hello here, right? So I can select it. I can say create ticket, and there should be an integration profile created, right? So I can use that existing integration profile. And if I click on next, it will create a ticket under Hello PSA, right? Now, how do you actually set up the integrations is under settings, integration tab. You have an option to go over the PSA integrations here, right? So for an example, say Autotask, I have to set up the credentials. Don't have that set up. Let me pick up anything which is, okay, Hello is set up. So here I have the credentials. You'll have to add an event set. Now, event set is something for which criteria you want to raise a ticket. So for an example, say you want to raise a ticket based on problems. So here you would like to have a ticket only for, say, critical vulnerabilities, right? And you would like it only for at the company level. So this grouping mechanism is very important because this will decide the number of tickets which will flow into your PSA, right? So if you say company, that means per company, it will only create one ticket. And here, if you want a ticket only for application or only for operating system, or if you don't select by default, it will create tickets for application on OS both, right? So that way you should be able to create event set based on what criteria you want a ticket for. So you need to set up an integration rule, map it to the company, and then it will be automatically set. So if you set the event, it will be automatically creating ticket on the PSA platform. Does that help, Nabil? All right. Any other questions we have?
I think she's saying it's not working. I think then we'll have to go via support ticket, Nabil. Just
Okay.
drop your ticket number. We'll take a look at it.
You can write to support at Connect Secure if you have not raised a ticket yet. And then team will get back to you and maybe get on a session to help you with this. Perfect. Perfect. Any other questions we have? All right. I think we look all good. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in today.
Thank
And
you.
okay, thank you.